We're going to take a look at how you configure an external associated account for an Exchange resource forest. This allows PeopleUpdate to associate a user account from a user forest with the mailbox account in the Exchange resource forest. The scenario we're looking at here maps a user from forest A, our user forest, to forest B, our Exchange resource forest. This allows someone who's coming in, say user account 2, to access the mailbox for user account 2, which is associated with the disabled account in the resource forest. PeopleUpdate allows you to do this by taking and authenticating user 2 and then mapping that account to the user 2 mailbox in forest B. To set up an external associated account, start by going to the security page in the PeopleUpdate admin console. On the security page, you fill out the information up at the top about user authentication configuration. You set a bind path to your Exchange resource forest, as well as an account name and a password if you need. Oftentimes you will need these because you're authenticating from a web server that's in a user forest, but if it is in the same Exchange resource forest, you might not have to set them. The final piece is to check for external associated account. When this checkbox is set, it allows you to map the account from the user forest to the account in the Exchange resource forest. Finally, once you save your changes, you can go ahead and test your LDAP connection to ensure that the mapping and that the connection to your Exchange domain works. If you see this test connection succeeded message, you know you're in good shape. We can test this by going to the Search Console. I'll change a tab to the Search Console, and noticing that when we refresh our page, we see that the Welcome Test Dupe Lab is the account that's actually shown. Now right now, I am actually logged in as a Test Dupe Demo WAD user. That is a user from the user forest. The lab forest is our Exchange resource forest. So this exact scenario is occurring. In fact, when I change back to my admin tab and I uncheck the check for external associated account, then come back and refresh here, you'll notice that it says Welcome Test Dupe Demo WAD, demonstrating that it is not finding the linked account at this point. Obviously, we want to go back to the other direction. So once you have your authentication configuration set up, you'll want to modify the directory information. The directory information for the two tabs you're really concerned about would be All Users and MyInfo. MyInfo is particularly important. Usually you want to delegate the ability for a user to manage their resource account in the Exchange forest, and that's why you want a tool like PeopleUpdate. The critical things to set here are the bind path. Again, we set it to the Exchange resource forest, and your proxy account credentials. This is the service account that is used to actually search and update Active Directory in the Exchange forest. So that is critical that you have credentials that are relevant and that have privileges to update data in that resource forest. You can do this on the All Users tab as well if you'd like, but the most important one probably again is the MyInfo tab. So let's take a look at the net effect of this. When we come in and we go to MyInfo, first and foremost we'll refresh this so we're back to our linked account since we reset our check for external associated accounts. You can see we're the Test Dupe Lab user here. When I go to MyInfo, it's going to load up the information for the link, the resource account in the Exchange resource forest. So this is important. When I go to edit this, it's actually going to modify the information for the Exchange account and associated mailbox and not for the user account in the user forest. We'll quickly demonstrate this by going into edit mode. Notice our phone number is set to 555-1212. If I look in Active Directory, I can see that that is indeed the phone number for this user. I'll come back. We'll just make a simple modification here and update it. When we update, it's updated real time. We'll cancel this and put the information back up, and as you can see, it is indeed updated against the disabled account Test Dupe Lab in the the lab domain. Final proof here, when we look at the attribute for MS Exchange Master Account SID, we can see that it is indeed linked.